Hi everybody, today I've got another inbox for you, and today we're going to be looking at Eduard's Sparviero SM.79. So this is a free-engined Italian bomber, okay, and by looks of it, this aircraft, or the markings on for this aircraft, are all like Sicilian roads from 1940 to 1942-ish. Just looking at it. Also, not one's from 1938. Okay, but that's pre-war. But we'll talk about the markers when we get into it. So what do you get in this kit? So I believe it's the classic airframes plastic, and with that you get loads of resin, and also Eduard have thrown their resin bits into it and all that sort of stuff. Okay, so you actually get quite a lot within this, and looking at it, this one's got the torpedo. So this aircraft was used for torpedo bombing. It was used for high-level bombing of Malta during the battle for Mediterranean. Okay, so it was used quite a lot. All right, so what we'll do, we'll put you on overhead and we'll get cracking. So as always, we start with the instruction manual and a normal Eduard booklet. Okay, as it says, it's Eduard Heavy Retro. So the classic airframes kit's been about quite a long time now. Okay, but I've never seen it, so we'll have a look when we get into it. So we've got some blurb on the front about this aircraft before we then go straight into the plastic parts. And as you can see, that's our plastic parts. Then we've got our photo etch and mass, and then we've got a bolt load of resin. Okay, all the colours, we've a mist colour or aqueous. Okay, and then we start straight into it with the instrument panel. Okay, so we've got photo etch, we've got resin, and all that sort of stuff. So we're starting with the instrument panel. We've got what looks like some more maybe radio panels or control panels, some sidewalls just there. Before we've then got the floor of the actual cockpit seats going on with the photo etch buckles and what looks like a parachute pack. We've got some more, another set of seats just there that goes off to one side. Maybe that's for the radio operator. Before we move on to the actual fuselage itself, it tells you to open up the gun gondola. So all this part is all resin that fits inside the fuselage. We've got some more photo etch going on for the doors and hatches. Then we've got our closed gondola and open, so you can see we've got a resin part there with all open. So I don't know whether that was, it looks like it now, it looks like it wasn't glass. Okay, so how the rear gunner was going to fire its weapon, I don't know. Okay, but there we've got it closed, and there we've got it open. We've got the tail fin going on. Okay, it tells you about some of the wires that need adding. Before we move into the lower gun position, okay, with the gun just there. We've got the two wing section and the parts for two of the engines going together. Before we move on to the engines themselves, and as you can see, you've got two different exhaust types on here. So B and F and A, C, D and E. You can just see the exhaust stubs just there with the photo etch and what have you going on. For the engines get mounted and the fuselage gets mounted to the wings. We've got our wheels thing going on, whether you want an open or closed, I would assume. Okay, and then we've got some other bits and pieces for the bomb racks and what have you, or the torpedo. And then we've got the canopy going on. We have all our masking just there, so for all the clear parts before we move into the masking for the wheels and more clear parts. Before we move into the actual markings. So this one's Rhodes, somewhere 1941. We've got Bellairs, March 1938. Sicily, 1940. And then Albania, end of 1940. And then Rhodes again, 1942. Some really, really interesting markings. Okay, some that be really, really tricky to try and pull off. But once done, I'm sure they'll look spectacular. Oh, and we've got one final one from Sicily, June 1940. Okay, so that's the instructions. Let's move into the actual kit. We'll do the plastic parts first, and then we'll have a look at the actual resin part. What I will say, these plastic parts, I've just picked them up, are really, really heavy. Now, a lot heavier than what I was expecting. Okay, so I'll just put these parts over to one side. So, as you can see, on the inside of the fuselage, there's nothing there. All right, turn it over. We've got a little bit of fabric texture. We've got some panel lines. You know, they're quite fine panel lines. We've got quite a bit of flash, quite a bit of horribleness just there on the fuselage. No locating points. Remember, this is classic airframes kit, so it's a limited run kit. Okay. We've then got upper wings. Sorry, no, lower wings and tail. Okay, the tails are all one piece. Again, some nice fabric detail, some recessed detail on there. Not the smoothest plastic, so that would probably need some work on there. We've then got the upper wings and the belly. All right, so again, this plastic's a little bit smoother, nice texture for the fabric, some nice seam lines, no rivets whatsoever. Same on this part on the front here, really no rivets at all. And unless there's anything in the resin, there's no detail in the wheel wells. Next one, we've got our torpedo wheel wells, again devoid of any sort of detail. Quite a lot of flash around some of these parts. And then we've got the engine cowlings, some props. A lot of cleanup will be needed, but again, not a lot of detail on these parts to write home about. So this is where this kit comes into its own. It's all, now this is all classic airframes resin. So this is the resin that you would get with this kit if you were buying it from classic airframes. So we've got our engine details. Obviously, it's really, really nicely done. Some top drawer resin there. Okay, some nice recess, some nice veins on the cylinders just there. So we get 3 of those. Our cockpit floor, nice solid bit of resin. 2 different types of exhaust. Okay, so we've got those type. Personally, I would look at hollowing those out all the way. And then we've got these type, which more of the I think they're the flame suppressors ones. Okay, so we've got 3 of those. We have our cockpit walls, these 2 bits here. And you can see we've got some really, really nice, fine detail on there for the cockpit walls and all that sort of stuff. Our seats, some fabric texture on the seats, which looks really nice. Instrument panel, some nice detail on there. You're probably not going to be able to see it. What else we got? Another set of exhausts. Okay, so you get three different types of exhaust, but I believe only 2 types are used. What's this part? So we've got some instrument parts. Just there. Another part of the cockpit. Again, another part of the cockpit. And other odds and sods, so the control columns, we've got the hubs for the props, some fins and some more control parts. So as you can see, we've actually got really a lot of resin in here. They potentially are part of the weapons. That bit there for the for the open rear gondola for the weapons, and all other odds and sods. We'll just move those out of the way with these resin parts. And in there, I'll have to be careful because you have got the actual barrels of those guns, so I'll have to be careful with those ones. Next up, wheels. This looks like it's Eduard wheels, so yeah, Eduard Resin, and you can see we've got some writing on. We've got Pirelli wheels. Okay, weight on wheels. We've got a lovely 3D printed part there for. I'm assuming that's the tail wheel, so that's absolutely beautiful. Okay, really nicely done. So I'll just put those ones over there. Next, resin bits. So you've got a lot better props. Look at those, a lot better props. So these are Eduard parts as well. So these are to replace the prop that are in the kit. And you also get some barrels there, which are a lot better than the barrels from the classic airframes. Okay. And then we've got these 3D printed parts, and they're really nice. So we've got the prop hubs, and then the spinner parts for the actual props, which is really nicely done. So we've got some OK resin from classic airframes and some brilliant resin from Eduard. And then we move into the photo etch. So this is Eduard photo etch, okay, just there for the actual engines. So to tart the engines up quite a lot, and some other bits and pieces. And then we've got the instrument panel. If you don't want to use the instrument panel, where is it? The instrument panel, okay, from the actual resin parts. So you could, in theory, sand that down and stick that bit on. Okay, and then you've got it pre-painted along with the seat harnesses and all that sort of stuff. Okay, so that's really, really nice. We've got our mask sets, which I'm not going to go through. And then we've got our decals. I'm not going to go get these out because I don't want to ruin them. Okay, but these are, well, actually I will. These are probably going to be the newer versions if I can get them out. Right. Careful. And then we'll have a look at the clear parts. So we have some of the main markings, the newer type Eduard ones, which when being the newer type, yes, they can be a pain, but I believe they are getting a lot better. As you can see, it's really a lot of big bold markings on there. So that's the main marking ones. Just put that to one side, and we've got some of the actual unit markings. Again, there's a lot of carry film, but this carry film is meant to be taken off to give that painted on look. That's them. And then we move on to the clear parts. So these clear parts would be plastic airframes. Clear parts. Oh, already broken. And yeah, they're okay. All right, they're not brilliant. They've got some framing, so you'll be able to mask off if you're not using the mask sets, if you lose them forever or whatever. Okay. So that's Eduard Sparviero, if I can pronounce it right. Okay, let's get there. Sparviero, okay, in 1/48. Now, like I said, this is a classic airframes kit, and the plastic itself is showing its age. The resin looks really nice from classic airframes. Okay, it looks really nice, but the added bits and pieces that you get from Eduard just elevate it that little bit more. Okay, I'll give you some really nice detailing around the engines and stuff like that. Added to that with the photo etch, you know, really, you can't really go wrong. What I would say, it probably will need some work, some careful putting together, plenty of test fitting, but it should build up to look really, really nice. Now, I know there is a trumpeter version, I believe, of this, but I haven't seen that. I don't know anything about it. To be fair, this is the first time I've seen this kit. And because it's not a subject that I'm overly interested in, I haven't really took much notice of it. But it should build up to be a really nice looking model, especially with some of those markings. Anyway, that's it from me, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.